All right, we're rolling. We're here.
That's exactly what I was going to do if I was doing the intro.
Poltergeist.
I was going to go, welcome, children. All are welcome. Go into the podcast.
Poltergeist.
I'm letting everyone know when this episode ends, get ready for this set is clean. So just getting ready for it.
Nice.
Poltergeist.
I have
Guess
another.
what episode? What?
I got like 20 bits. I just feel like doing them all now would be wrong.
You gotta save them.
Let's just get to the episode.
I just like being the punctuation of the bit. So
You're saying Poltergeist.
Every gag having that at the end, it just,
perfect.
makes it hit just right.
Anyways, welcome to Movie Club, everybody. Guess what movie we're doing today? That's right, Poltergeist. The 1982 classic, supposedly directed by Tobe Hooper. Nice try, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
We know you made this movie.
Yeah. What kind of name is Tobe? Tobe?
Yeah, you can't hide behind this fictitious, made-up director. Oh, he directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Supposedly.
Okay, so his name is Tobe.
Yeah.
That's Toby?
Looks like a Tobe to
I've
me.
always assumed it was Toby and pronounced it Toby. Maybe it's Tobe.
I think he was Toby, and that's his nickname is the Tobe.
The Tobe.
What's up, Tobe? What's
Hey.
up, Tobe girl?
Yo, it's Steven. Is this the Tobe?
Yeah, give me the Tobe.
I need your name to direct this movie because I'm legally not allowed to put my name as the director.
Yeah. We're doing a horror movie, and we needed to get totally tobed.
Yeah. But
Tobular.
so Steven Spielberg, he didn't direct this movie, Poltergeist. He only wrote it and produced it.
Yeah, he wrote it,
and co-directed it, and the main character's name is Steven. But he had very little to do with it.
Yeah. So in case anyone's not familiar, that's been the myth for a long time is like, did Spielberg do more than just
Well, I also
those
heard
things?
that the lady, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but the All Are Welcome did an interview back in 2006, but she said all the 5 days I was there, Steven Spielberg was the director.
Wow.
Like he was the director. And then
Yeah, but she's old. She's
was old
in 1982.
Well,
so-
then the cast came forward and were like, yeah, she was there for 5 days. That's not the case. Like, Toby is the director.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is such a this is such a weird thing that this is even in question.
Yeah. But
there's no question as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, where I sit with it is there's back and forth who did what. Because again, part of the rumor is that he was signed to do Jaws, and he wasn't maybe planning to direct this movie in that sense, but like Toby, whatever, couldn't quite get it done, and so he was like stepping in to get it done. There's argument on both sides of it, but I'm telling you, I'm watching the damn movie, and all the signatures of Steven are there. You got the guy looking, and it's pushing in on the classic Spielberg.
It's clearly a
push in.
Steven Spielberg movie, and I think you might be mistaken about the movie he was making because this came out in 1982. Which this movie was released within a week of E.T.
Yeah.
So it was the summer of Spielberg.
I actually
Newsweek
Is that
reported.
did I say different movie?
You said, I think you said Jaws.
Oh, I didn't mean to say, yeah.
But I think
E.T.
the Drew Barrymore auditioned for this role as the little girl, as Carol Ann, didn't get it, but Steven Spielberg, this audition for Poltergeist got her the role in E.T.
Oh, yeah. He's like, you're great. Let's put you in the movie that my name's going to be on.
Yeah, you know what?
The one I'm gonna
it turns out
remembered
you may
for.
be the best, so you're going to get the different movie.
Now, this kid, before we get to the movie review, this kid met a tragic end, and Sean wanted to talk about that up front.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought
I
you were.
didn't. I did not know.
What
I knew
kid?
that
This kid?
Yeah. I
Yes.
knew that she died young, and I didn't. That was all I knew. That's, whatever.
Didn't she die on set, on
No.
camera?
No.
And they used the footage in this
Don't
movie?
say that. No. She.
Didn't a television fall on her?
Weird fact about her: born in Santee, California.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes, born in Santee, California.
They don't even have a hospital in Santee.
Maybe it was in their
That's
house.
crazy.
Maybe
Oh
there's
my
a house
God.
where she was
Problem.
born in Santee, which is where we're all from. So that was a surprise
We
fact.
went to school there, and I want to say the house that I lived in when I was in that area, I might be thinking of somebody else. I think she was only a couple streets over from where that was.
Well, I lived a couple streets over from where you were.
That's
Maybe
true.
it could have been my house.
Your
I
house.
think, honestly, where I was living, 2 streets over was Derek, couple streets over might have been them. But then I thought
Couldn't have
somebody
been my
else here.
house.
I thought Kevin said that she wasn't that far from where they lived.
Well,
too. I might be mixing them up.
No, you're correct. I think you're both right. Because when I was reading, once I saw the Santee thing, I did a deep dive on this. Like, well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she born in Santee, grew up in Santee until
Poor
she
girl.
auditioned. I know, right? Auditioned for this role. The point is, she got this, and she got other. She was in Poltergeist 2,
Yeah.
The Other Side, and then she was gonna do Poltergeist 3, but she.
Not in that?
I don't think so.
I thought she was.
Maybe
It was
she
about the
started.
Yeah, she
skyscraper.
played
She was.
the
No,
ghost.
you're right. She was. Oh Jesus, Derek. She was on medication at the filming of her next project, Poltergeist 3. So yes, she was.
Okay.
She was in that. But the point is that after she filmed that, she went back to her house, which then was Lakeside.
Yeah. Okay.
And then she, they said that she had what disease was it that she died of? But like they took away in the ambulance, but before they got to the hospital, she had died when she was like 12, which is super terrible.
So yeah, I didn't. I was messing with you because I knew you didn't want to go into it.
No,
but
but
get it out
What
of the
year
way.
was that?
That she died?
Yeah.
I think she died in 1988.
Okay. Well, I was like 3 years old back then. That means,
Yeah.
she'd be in her late 40s or into her 50s now. And
Yeah. So, but I think, Kevin is closer to the Lakeside area.
Yeah.
Maybe you're both right, I don't know. Anyways, sad, but also the older sister is also died, which I did not. She was
Yeah.
murdered though, which is fucking
Jeez.
nutso. So anyways, I've heard a lot of things that this movie was cursed, and it was cursed because of the final scene is what the rumor is,
Oh yeah.
which we'll get into later.
where they go to the motel and put the TV
Yeah,
outside.
that TV was real mad. That was put
Don't
outside in the rain.
fucking TV.
Yeah. The hotel was like, yeah, we told you not to move the furniture. Yeah, I'm gonna put up the hex on you. I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Motel 6.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why we're talking about dead kids.
That's terrible.
Why
Walker
would-
brought
why
it
would you
up.
get into that?
Sean wanted to go
Don't
into
you
that.
dare!
That
Don't
was
you
me.
dare pin this on me.
You picked this movie. Was it just an excuse to talk about all the dead
I finally
children
got what I wanted.
associated with
Yep.
it?
So we can actually end it here. I got what I wanted.
Why did you pick this movie? Had you seen it before?
I had seen this movie as a kid once before, but it was one of those things where like my parents had Top Gun on VHS or some shit, and then I put this on and was too scared to watch it, so I just like fast forwarded a couple things.
Yeah.
But I vividly remember the final scene in the pool.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
remember, like I was like paralyzed with fear. I couldn't like hit fast forward enough because I was like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be seeing this, and I was like so scared. And I haven't gone back to it since that. So
Yeah.
I was like 5 when that happened. So yeah, I wanted to see it again and see what it was all about.
Yeah, and I was glad you picked it because I always bring up on here that horror has never kind of been my genre, and I'm always kind of whatever on it. But this was a movie that I saw earlier in life and was on my. I remember telling you this, Derek, a couple of years ago. I was like, in the genre of scary stuff, one of the only few movies that I continually, like every year I'll watch it or I'll consistently go back and watch was Poltergeist. Like that's one of the few scary movies that's in my list of just favorite movies, just period.
Mm-hmm.
I've always really liked it. And I never forgot what you said. You told me, and this is a good point. You were like, well, yeah, Poltergeist kind of almost isn't a horror movie. It's almost more like a discovery movie. Like again, we were talking about the Spielberg thing, how it's more about like discovering the wonders of the other side. It's
Right.
a scary movie, but it it was like, yeah, it's more kind of that rather than
Well, this to me is more of like an alien type movie.
yeah, almost in that field.
Where it's not like there's no guy with like a skin mask, that kind of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Like that's like fucked up horror, which I'm not
Yeah,
into. But this
yeah.
kind of thing, this isn't scary to me. This is interesting.
Yeah, so I just remember you pointed that out to me, Derek, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point. It kind of like skirts that line in a way.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Discovery. I suppose, yeah, it's more of like a fantasy movie in a way.
It's got that,
Yeah.
it's got that Spielberg energy, like, yeah, what's on the other side? It's got that wonder kind of to it, even though it's scary or whatever you want to say. It's
Yeah.
got that wonder to it.
But I
And
do
so-
feel like of all like the horror movies out there to show kids, this is probably the one where it's like, yeah, this
It's not gonna scar them
start
for
with this
life.
one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Maybe that's why I liked it as a kid. I was a wuss. Anyway.
Yeah, you want to get into the story of Poltergeist?
Sure.
Is there anything else by the way, I had never seen this movie as a kid. So
you didn't?
I watched this movie I think in my early 20s.
Oh,
Okay.
And yeah, I this is a famous horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a famous horror director, but yeah, I always go back and forth. I feel like the more I watch this movie, the less I enjoy it over time. And I also, for me, I feel like this movie is such an anomaly because it is a Steven Spielberg movie. It's not a Steven Spielberg movie. How do you judge it as a Steven Spielberg movie? It doesn't even have his name on it as the director, but it's like clearly one of his products. So yeah, it's very interesting to go back and revisit it over time and kind of pick it apart, which we're going to do today. So I guess I'll summarize the movie as we usually do on this show, and you guys can hop in whatever.
Sounds good.
At any point, if you want to comment or point stuff out. But the movie basically opens in a suburban neighborhood. I mean, it's such a typical Steven Spielberg movie. It takes place in a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's like a mom and dad with like 3 kids.
Yeah.
And something fantastical happens to them.
Yeah.
And
It almost looks like the neighborhood from E.T. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of neighborhood.
yeah, I'm sure he was producing both of these movies like at the same time.
Yeah.
And just like overhauling from one set to another. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, yeah, get the cars and drive them over to the other set.
Yeah.
And the movie opens with I'm trying to think. Oh, it's the national anthem. It's when the TV like turns off at the end of the night, and then it goes to static.
Which doesn't happen anymore, but it used to.
Did you ever see that growing
No,
up? Did you?
never.
There were times that I woke up really early or woke up in the middle of the night, and I was old enough that I don't know what age, I had a TV in my room by that point. And I remember going like, maybe this would put me to sleep or something, watch something till I fall asleep or something. And I remember seeing that a lot where they would do the national anthem or they would have a show that was about farming.
Yeah.
Like, all right, farmers are up at this hour. So let's tell the farmers what to expect weather-wise and all that.
That never happened to me, but I do remember I used to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch Power Rangers before I went to school.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
that's
would
when
wake
they
up
would
real-
do it.
Yeah. They would rerun it, I
The
think.
first season, and that was the first show that they would play on TV. And so I would wake up so early, it would just be like the color bars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then as soon as 5 a.m. hit, they would play the Mexican national anthem.
Oh, yeah, because they broadcast from
They
there.
broadcast from there.
XETV.
Yeah, I guess so. They
Yeah.
must. Because I was, as a kid, like, why am I watching the Mexican national
Well,
anthem?
also-
which is
okay.
really long.
Oh, it is. But
Yeah.
do you remember like a radio station out here, 91X, always at midnight plays the Mexican national anthem.
Yeah.
They still do it.
Yeah, they
Because
do.
they're still broadcasting from there.
They get stronger. It's an FCC thing. I think it might be cheaper doing it from there, but also they use lower frequencies that are not. Here we have all kinds of regulations on those frequencies.
Yeah.
Over there they don't, and they can go further.
Which is why you can hear San Diego radio stations in like San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because it's so strong. That
I remember,
it
we
doesn't
were
matter.
listening to 91X on the way
Got
up to
that
GDC. once.
powerful Mexican radio.
So that's why
The
something
Mexican
like
radio. So yeah, never the American national anthem. Wow, we're only on the first scene of this movie. This is going to be a long episode.
No, we'll get through this.
Yeah, we're going to speed through this. So basically, like the TV clicks over and then it goes to static, and it's implied that like something strange is living in the static of their television.
Yeah.
And the daughter, the little girl, she's like 5 years old. She like comes down and starts talking to the TV, and the family is woken up and they're all very freaked out about it.
Yeah, I watching the scene, if it's this scene, looking at the TV, and I just kept thinking like that must have fucked her up, those strobe lights. There's so many strobe lights and she was staring right at them for so long.
Yeah.
Like just in the movie itself, I can't imagine how long they were filming that for.
Yeah.
Like that was gnarly. I mean, for a little kid to have to like look straight ahead and I'm gonna show
Yeah.
We're
shit
gonna
little lights
blast
at you.
you 40,000 lumens.
Yeah, right? Like that's crazy.
On a strobe. Yeah, so it opens with that creepy scene, but then it kind of goes into the suburban neighborhood, and they spend the first like 20 minutes kind of just developing the family and introducing the characters. You see a bunch of dad's friends are over. They're watching a football game, but he's arguing with like the neighbor who keeps changing it to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Yeah.
The mom finds a dead bird. It looks like a canary, which is kind of a little bit of symbolism, like the dead canary in the mine.
Right.
It's supposed
Yeah.
to warn the miners of poisonous gas or incoming doom.
Yeah.
There's that symbolism. And then you see like the little boy kind of climbing a tree. What's he going to find at the top of the tree? Nothing. He looks off in the distance and he sees some clouds rolling in. Oh, a storm is approaching. So there's even more symbolism there.
Right.
Which I like, it's very good like filmmaking. It's Spielbergian filmmaking.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Even with the neighbors arguing over the TV channel,
Yeah.
that to me is like, this is totally a Spielberg thing. That is like such a simple little thing
Yeah.
that they would do.
But I did want to say on that note, what I don't know if you were about to get to this or maybe
ahead.
go past it. What happens
go
with the
for it.
canary, the dead canary?
Yeah.
Is they're like, yeah, what she says we're gonna bury it or
Yeah.
whatever and all that, and then we see a shot later of the mom putting the canary over the toilet and the kid catches it, Whoa! And then it cuts there, whatever. Another great symbol of what is to come later this movie. I'm jumping ahead.
It's fine.
When you find out what happens with a lot of dead bodies, what was done responsibly with them? Nothing. Seeing this earlier in life, I think maybe another reason I kind of bonded with this movie a little bit. This is one of the first movies I saw younger where I was seeing like the themes in a movie and not just what was happening. You know what I mean? And I realized watching it, I was like, this is a great movie about the scary stuff that happens, but this is a great movie about the aversion of responsibility and kind of like adults kind of still acting like kids, where the mom just she's not going to see it, flushes the thing. Got they're arguing over the TV channels. When there's construction dudes outside, when she walks in, the construction dude is like isn't he like taking food off the counter?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like shit I'm doing when no one's looking. It's very like not accepting adult responsibilities. That hit me when I was younger. I was like, wow, that's what's really going on here. I could see kind of like the undertones of all of it, and I thought that was really cool, and they did a good job with that.
Those construction workers, that scene of them like catcalling their daughter who was like 15, they were like so like sexually graphic, like, ooh, yeah, I want you, ooh. And like the mom was watching like, okay, come inside. And like the guys get back to work. It's like, that was your reaction? Like, they're fucking fired and the cops are called. Like, what are you saying?
She would have contacted the main office and there'd be a court case.
That daughter definitely had sex with all those construction workers.
What the fuck?
All throughout the movie, there's this reoccurring theme of the daughter is a huge tramp and is hooking up with all these guys, and the parents are totally oblivious to it. Even in the final scenes of the movie, the house gets sucked into a portal, and literally, like, the daughter pulls up in some random Camaro and hops out. What's happening? It's like, you would know if you had been here. Like, where have you been?
Right.
But yeah, anyway, like I said, watching this when I was younger, I felt like it was one of the first movies I could see the kind of things between the lines on all this stuff, and I really enjoyed kind of like seeing the way they executed that.
Yeah, nice. My complaint with this part of the movie is nothing scary happens. They have this opening scene where, the TV is creepy. Okay, cool. And then it's a lot of the dead canary, something's wrong. There's a storm coming, something's wrong. And then the storm shows up, and it's like the parents are like smoking weed and reading a Ronald Reagan biography, which, by the way, talk about a buzzkill. Who fucking smokes weed and reads a biography on Ronald Reagan?
I thought the same thing
you
of
should try
like,
it.
that is a weird combo.
Like, what's your
Weird
political
combo.
affiliation here?
But you might be a Reagan
something
head
down
if you
the
did
middle?
that. Try it out.
Yeah.
Don't knock it till you try it.
That explains why they voted for him. I get it. And then the kid is like afraid of thunder. And to me, it's cool. I definitely appreciate Steven Spielberg trying to introduce the family in a very organic way and build their character. But it goes on for like half an hour.
It is a while.
We're 30 minutes into a horror movie. Where are the frights?
Yeah.
Toby and Steven.
But I will say, on my side, I liked that aspect of this. I liked the very, like, they nailed a normal neighborhood at that time. That's part of the reason I like the movie, is I like the aesthetic of it. It being nothing is played up in that way. It's very, very normal neighborhood. The way the architecture was, the way that people's homes felt. So I totally see what you're saying. if you're a horror movie fan, you're kind of like,
Well, it's
leaving me
cool.
high and
I mean,
dry.
but this is not a period piece. In
Right.
1982, this is just people's houses.
Yeah.
And
No.
a lot of this movie's, and it goes on throughout the movie. There's a lot of nothing happening
Yeah.
throughout long stretches of the movie.
Yeah.
But I do like the characters. Like I like the dad. I like
Yeah.
the mom. Like I kind of like everyone.
Yeah. I think the movie focuses too much on character development, but I like the character development.
yeah,
Sure.
But this movie for me suffers from a lack of kind of just being scary and being engaging.
sure.
And I think a problem I noticed with this movie on this viewing, and we'll get to it later because it hasn't happened yet. Too many people sleeping. Too much
lot of sleeping.
footage of people sleeping. Like it makes me want to fall asleep
Yeah,
when I
sure.
see so many people just like they're whispering and don't wake up the kids, they're sleeping. And it's like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
kind of tiresome. But anyways, so they're hanging out that
Yeah.
first night and a storm is rolling in. Were you going to add something
Oh
to that?
no! All I was gonna say, yeah, I didn't mind that. I totally hear what you're saying, but on my end, I was enjoying spending time with the family before anything, whatever. So
Okay.
different strokes.
Well, let me know if you do mind any of this stuff. When the movie starts pissing you off, just shout it out.
There are
Yeah.
a few things.
This pisses me off.
So the first, I mean, where even am I? There's a first night and there's a storm rolling in. That's
Yeah.
it. There's a storm rolling in, and nothing happens. They all
Right.
fall asleep, and then the TV is on, and it rolls over to the national anthem, and then once again, it goes to static, and the little girl starts talking to whatever's in the TV, and she sees an ethereal spirit come out of the TV, right? Like ghost arms, and it causes an earthquake to happen in the house. And then she famously turns to her family and she's like, "They're here." And then we cut to the next day, and Dad, Craig T. Nelson, plays the father. He's like on the phone. I don't know who he's on the phone with. His boss, his coworker,
The team.
Yeah.
yeah, other people that he works with. And he's like, "You didn't feel that earthquake last night?" Nobody seems to have felt the earthquake that they experienced last night. At the same time, the kids are arguing. And the mom's trying to get some information from the daughter. Like, what did you mean when you said they were here? And it's like, oh, I don't know. And then the kids like run out, and little boy discovers all his like kitchen utensils have been bent.
Right.
He's arguing with his sister and the glass breaks. Just kind of like weird stuff is happening like that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
When you were a kid, let me just ask you this: it became famous tagline, "They're here" or whatever.
yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember. Did you ever hear that when you were
Yeah,
younger?
yeah.
Because I remember it being "They're back." Like I heard that more, and I think they say that in the sequel.
I'm sure that's what
I think that's what that's from. But I remember hearing "They're back," and so when I saw this movie, it was like "They're here." I was like, "What? That's different than what I."
It's
but
gotta
both
be
of them were
That's something the
famous.
sequel would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's a lot of character development in this part of the movie. I took notes. This is actually where the construction workers hit on the daughter.
Right.
It's this next
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Great scene, by the way. It's like, "Oh, baby, I'm in love with you." And she does like this robot. Meh, meh, meh. Yeah, she was murdered, by the way.
I know.
That
Oh,
actress.
so
got-
that's who you were talking.
That's
Okay.
who
she was like
I did
killed-
not know that.
I think she was
didn't.
killed before this movie even came out. Like, she
Uh,
finished filming it,
oh
and
my
then she got
God.
murdered.
Yeah. She got strangled by her like boyfriend that she broke up with that night.
Oh shit!
It's terrible.
It's always the boyfriend.
Dude,
They should make a movie about her.
jeez.
Like a behind the poltergeist, becoming poltergeist.
I thought you were going to say make a movie about the boyfriend
Oh.
who kills.
Yeah,
I
that's
think they've done that.
it's a scary movie. The little girl's like staring into the TV obliviously. Even her mom like flips it off. The dog is freaking out about something. And then they have this scene where the chairs kind of stack themselves on the kitchen table. Which is,
Loved this part.
Yeah.
me too. Because it's like finally the ghosts are showing up.
Not only that, but it's like that was one shot. I think I couldn't find a cut.
think
I
so.
went back and watched it again. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
one shot.
It was one take.
How'd they do it? Like, I mean, that stack was so impressive, and it was so something that like you couldn't. I mean, you could have a crew come and do it. I'm sure that's what happened, but like it was very impressive to me, like how they were able to
Yeah.
do that.
It's kind of like the scene in The Sixth Sense when
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
doors are open.
And I love that scene too.
Yeah, that's if you're having a ghost story, you got to fuck around with the kitchen somehow.
Yeah, and a one take thing.
You got to prank the mom. We see Craig T. Nelson. They go from this kitchen scene to like a duplicate kitchen scene, and this is kind of the extent of the world building they do in this part of the movie. It basically just lets you know that these are like model track homes that are being built on a new plot, and he is one of the salesmen in charge of getting people to move into these houses. And it's basically implied that his family has just moved into one of these houses themselves, and the house is newly built.
Right.
Then we go back to the kitchen, and now Craig T. Nelson is coming home from work, and mom and the baby have been doing experiments all day.
Right.
With these chairs and with the kitchen, and it's ghost activity, right?
Yeah. And it's cool though. It's cool effects of like, putting the kid down with the helmet on, like having the kid like across the, the living room, the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's cool. It's cool.
It all has like a whimsical feel to it. The music is very like a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Why I really liked this movie is it was creepy shit, but it was all stuff you wanted to see more of because it was interesting. It wasn't just like, okay, get away from this thing trying to kill me. I don't even want to look at this thing. It was kind of like, oh, do more with that. Like,
it's the family's figuring it out while we're figuring it out. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. Well, like we were saying, discovery. Yeah, it was cool, kind of cool.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg. If you watch Steven Spielberg movies, he loves kind of classic adventure stories and science fiction stories and even horror stories that kind of are a throwback to the 50s, the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah.
That kind of like classic era. This story to me feels like more of like a Tales from the Crypt type story. Yeah. But even less of a horror, more of just like a Weird Tales type magazine. It's almost like science fiction. At the crux of it, and it kind of slowly works its way into this, but it's about paranormal investigators coming to a house to investigate what's been going on with this strange family.
It really does give me a vibe, and I think I'm the only person in the world who watched this, but like I watched a shitload of the 80s Twilight Zone, like a ton of it.
Yeah.
And this is just a long episode of that.
And didn't he produce that, or he did like Weird Tales? In the 80s?
No, I don't know.
Amazing Stories. Yeah,
Yeah, he did do Amazing Stories. I don't know if Spielberg produced the '80s Twilight Zone show, but he did the movie.
Right.
The movie was like, big. He was definitely behind that.
Yeah.
But even to take it further back, the original Twilight Zone, the '50s Twilight Zone, there is an episode where a little girl is in bed at night. I mean, I know it's like people sleeping, classic story, but and she rolls over in her bed and goes through the wall, and it's called Little Girl Lost.
Yeah.
And they're like, what happened? And a guy is marking, they have an investigator come in, mark off spots of the wall. And she's like, hey, the dimensions are weak in that spot. Mm-hmm. And she rolled over and she's stuck. So that's where we're at. It's very in the vein of this. Mm-hmm. So it's all stemming from the same place.
Yeah. So this is more of like a Twilight Zone type story.
Totally.
Yes.
In the same way, more recently here in film history, we had Get Out by Jordan Peele, which is considered a horror film.
Yeah, but I think
but it's still more of just like, it's more of like a weird story, a strange story. It's not quite horrific.
For like kind of crazy science or crazy whatever you want to say versus... horrific stuff.
Anyways, so like they're doing these experiments. There's a scene where Craig T. Nelson and the mom go next door to ask the neighbors, like, have you been experiencing any strange things happening? And they get attacked by mosquitoes and start like swatting themselves. They just look like real big idiots.
Right.
It's kind of like a slapsticky comedy scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna jump ahead because another thunderstorm hits that night. And then the tree comes alive outside and smashes through the kid's window and abducts him. At the same time, a tornado hits the neighborhood. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy scene. The family is running outside to save their kid who's being abducted by a tree, and the tree is fighting all of them. And unbeknownst to them, the little girl is being abducted herself in her bedroom because the poltergeists are in her closet. And they're sucking up her room. Like everything in her room is getting sucked into the closet.
Really cool effect again. I thought of like, there's some computer, I don't know. Is it computer animation? Like, I don't know how they even did it back then.
No, I don't think it's CGI. So. I think this is like practical. If anything, there's like green screen.
Yeah, because they use like, when you see like the hands coming through and stuff like that, like this isn't like, this is like animation on top of, I don't know.
I think it's still, done with, some rotoscoping or some.
Or even like how they did the lightning. Like that's not real lightning, but it's the old fashioned way of doing it.
I think it's drawn on, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but the effects of like the bed, like being thrown into that closet and like working its way in there and something like that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think all the effects are great. I feel like this movie is a vehicle to show off all of these cool effects. Mm-hmm. And almost towards the end of the movie, I feel like, hey guys, less is more. You know, you have like these weird giant skulls coming out of the closet later on in the movie, and it's like it's starting to not be less scary the more I see this shit.
Yeah. The I remember reading about when they were. It's going to sound like, why are you bringing this up? But I remember when they were talking about making 2001: A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick kept calling the effects guy and calling Arthur C. Clarke on the phone, like, I'm thinking the alien should look like this. Oh, okay. And then he would call again. No, we can't show the face of God. Why would we do that? You know, like, kept going back and forth on showing these things, and ultimately decided not to. It's way more powerful.
Yeah, without
when
seeing
you
it.
don't see the force behind, you know, whatever. And yeah, they're cool effects. It doesn't ruin the movie for me, but I agree. It's stronger not showing skull things. And
Yeah,
stuff.
you know,
it's
like
I'm good. You don't need it.
I'm gonna cut to a different movie. Like in Signs, when you first see the alien in that backyard handy cam
Horrifying.
thing, terrifying.
Yeah.
We see him later on. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, but that first part, you kind of see him, but not really.
Yeah, you might have to pause it to see it.
Right.
Versus, later he's like in the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, so at the end of this sequence where they're battling a tree, the tree gets sucked up in the tornado and then everything calms down, but they realize their daughter is missing. And after looking for her extensively, they find out that she's been sucked up into the TV. Right? The TV.
Well, the closet. you
Well,
know.
she's somewhere.
Yeah. But like they can talk to her through the TV, but she was sucked into the closet.
They communicate to her in the television. She's somehow in the television, but she entered through the closet. I feel like this movie is legendary and everybody remembers it as being this iconic film. But then when you go back and look at the details, it's kind of dumb on paper. Like, yeah, the little girl's trapped in the TV. That she got in through the closet.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. So Craig T. Nelson, Coach, if you don't know, from the TV show Coach. His name is Steven in this movie, by the way.
Yeah, but it's better to say Craig T. Nelson. It's
Yeah,
funnier.
because you might confuse him with Steven Spielberg.
That's why I made a joke earlier when you guys said he was on the phone. I said, with the team.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll applaud that.
Jokes just on
It's
such
good.
a high level.
Once I got it, it
Takes
was
a little
good.
bit.
He goes to a local college and he contacts a parapsychology team, which is a team of paranormal investigators, basically. And he brings them back to the house. And, you know, there's some funny dialogue. They're bragging like, yo, one time I recorded like a Tonka toy. It moved 10 feet across the floor in 7 hours. You know, I got it on time lapse. And he's like, oh, okay. And he opens the door and it's like Satan's hell room. Everything's flying around and like a record comes up and like a compass needle like hits it and it's playing itself like in the air. Then it cuts to the team. They're like drinking coffee and shaking, like, "Oh, what the fuck are we gonna do? This is crazy." What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that another dark thing. The guy with glasses was also murdered. In real life.
Fun keeps on coming.
Jesus,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So the guy the one of the part of the team that a third
There's
of
only
the team.
3 people on the
Yeah.
team.
The guy with the big glasses, I guess, was attacked with an axe and killed. In like I think it was 2006 or something like that. But like,
Jeez.
crazy shit.
Well, 2006. That's a long time. I mean, the movie
It still happened.
The movie had already been rumored to have been cursed by the time he was
Yeah, but
murdered,
this just proves it more.
I guess. Why did they hit him with the axe?
It
Was it an accident?
Jesus Christ. It was a guy. I know the murderer was 26, but I don't know why he did it. I don't know if they know why, but
Interesting.
He did it. Yeah.
Well, we're going to try to recover from that horrible story by moving on. They do like some sort of seance or prayer thing where they talk to Carolanda Baby in the TV, and she's like, "Mommy, there's a light," and they're like, "Stay away from the light." And I don't know, the movie's real weird. Mom's like walking up the steps, and like the house like blasts her with some air or something, and she's like, "Oh, Caroline's soul just blasted through me. Oh, I can smell her."
Yeah.
And I'm like, this woman smoked one too many doobies.
Well, it's also clear that like the family hasn't slept really since their daughter has gone missing. Like they're all like Craig T. Nelson and his wife are just fucked up, like just so tired and just like so like.
I made detailed notes because I feel like when you watch a movie, your brain forgets all the weird shit that happens. Yeah, because the mom gets hit with the baby's soul. And then the house like farts. There's no other way to describe it. But like this like gust of wind just blasts through the house and like briefly turns all the electronics off and makes the room turn red for half a second.
Oh yeah.
It's like and everybody's like blown over.
That's right.
And then the scene just ends. And I'm like, the house just ripped one on them. Like how else how else do you describe what happened there? And then the paranormal investigators, it just like moves on. They recover from the house fart and they're like, we want to check out the baby's closet. The movie kind of falls apart in the second act. During this part of the movie, it's like the house is farting, the mom is getting soul blasted. Like, let's go to the baby's closet. And then they check out the baby's closet, and then it's like they're all sleeping again. We're sleeping. And they have a long discussion with the little boy, and they explain to him what a soul is.
This part I could have done without.
Come on,
personally.
Right? This is where the movie, for me, the first time viewing, I was like, this is kind of putting me to sleep.
There's something about whispering in movies that always kind of bothers me.
It's ASMR. Mm-hmm. It's just so relaxing.
Yeah, but there's a whole like when the lady ghost hunter and the mom are talking for the longest time. It's like okay. I got it.
They're having a whispered conversation and everybody's sleeping. Yeah. What do you think? You okay with it?
With this part?
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy this whole movie, but this part I don't.
This part's whatever, but this is the same part I think where that guy with glasses goes to get some food, which I was laughing at the whole time because he just kept eating like everything. Like chicken wing, eat that. This, eat that. Oh, and then like what? He goes in the fridge, like, what's he gonna make? And it's a fucking like gigantic steak that he's just gonna like cook up some steak at like 3:00 in the morning. Like, who's fucking doing that?
Yeah, he basically they're hanging out waiting for something to happen. He's like, "Ooh, I'm hungry. Let me get a snack." And he goes to fry up a steak in a stranger's house.
Goes to their fridge and takes their steak.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And he puts the raw steak on the counter and it starts crawling like a worm.
Yeah.
And then it starts like exploding with meat or I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, like warring maggots or something. Like, it was weird.
And then the piece of chicken he's eating, he drops it and it's covered in maggots. Very reminiscent of The Lost Boys. I think this movie came out first though. I heard you like noodles, Mikey. You guys ever seen Lost Boys?
I never have actually.
Oh, well.
That would have been good
to my vampire brethren out there. You understand the reference.
That definitely came out later though, I think. I thought that was later 80s.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And then that guy in the middle of getting his snack, and the snack is going all hauntedly wrong. He goes to the bathroom and rips his face off.
Yeah.
It's almost like Spielberg had that effect from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, where it's like I've seen this before.
Or this predates Last Crusade. He's like, I need to screen test a face melt for this Indiana Jones movie I'm coming up with. And then it like flashes, and it was all a hallucination, which was kind of like a cop out, I think. But whatever, that's just splitting hairs.
I got scared when I first sat down and watched this whole movie. I got scared during the scene because when I was younger, really young, like even before I'd seen this movie, I'm talking a little kid. I remember someone saying Poltergeist was on TV, and I saw a scene where a kid went into the bathroom, or some guy went into the bathroom with braces, and then his braces started coming off his teeth and circling around his head, like strangling his head in braces. And that traumatized me. Like, that was something that fucking terrified me my whole childhood, was that thought of like coming out of his mouth. And that's Poltergeist 2.
Yeah, I was like, that was in this
Sorry
movie.
to spoil Poltergeist 2, but someone with braces has them come out of their mouth and strangle his head.
Sounds good.
But anyway, but it's kind of framed the same way as this. So I was like, oh, no. And I was like, does this guy have braces? When's that coming out? And I was like, oh, it didn't happen. He's only tearing his face off. That's nothing.
That's easy.
For some reason, that didn't bother me. It was the braces thing that got, I don't know what that was. So anyway.
Yeah, this is a scary scene. It's one of the most scary scenes in the movie, I think. But
Yeah.
he gets out of it. He was just tripping or something. The ghosts made him. They roofied him or
Yeah,
something.
it almost feels like they got like that was part of the conditions of putting out the movie. Like, give him something really horrific.
Well-
and Spielberg's like, well, that's not really what this movie's about. And it's like, well, compromise. He tears his face off, but it's not real.
I also think that like this movie was rated PG.
Yeah.
Which before, this is when PG-13 didn't exist. So it was
Yeah,
going to be
that's
R
true.
or PG, and they had to fight for it to be PG. And I think that was maybe their logic. Like, it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
It was imagination.
I bet you that's part of it. Give him a real scare, but then we'll pull out of it.
To get super analytical for me about why it doesn't work is this is such a minor character,
Yeah.
and now we're seeing him hallucinating.
Yeah.
And it's like, so is this movie about him losing his sanity?
Yeah.
And we're seeing it from his perspective, which is
Yeah.
a perspective we've never. The most of the movie is told through the eyes of the
Right.
mom and the dad.
Yeah.
And then for 5 minutes, we just follow this hungry side character around
Yeah.
Totally.
to see him trip balls.
Yeah.
And then he's suddenly questioning his sanity.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then the movie moves on. Yeah.
You're
So
right.
so you might be insane. All right.
Yeah.
Back to the little girl.
You know what? Wait a minute. If that guy would have died there, that would make sense. As you said, like, that's why we're following him. Oh, okay. We're seeing him.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I should point out that this guy doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's
later
just a
on.
side tangent.
That's-
I think he died and they had to get around it.
That's what I mean. This whole part felt like studio notes to me.
But
that's what it did. to
He's
me.
in the next scene.
Hmm.
Because then we go to his partner who's like drawing and not paying attention, and he comes in. He's like, "Idiot! Shit's going on at the top of the stairs."
True.
And they turn on the recorder and they start recording some like squid ghost thing apparating, and then they play that back the recording, and they see, oh, it looks like people
Yeah.
getting off a boat or
Yeah.
something.
Do you think that could have been like shot like that was supposed to be first and then they went to the food scene? I guess that's kind of
No,
weird.
I think that they
Yeah.
just were like, he
yeah,
was
you're right.
all in his head. Anyways, back to the story.
I think they had him go off into that bathroom so they could decide whatever they wanted to do with that. Whatever happens in there now, that's its own thing. We'll shoot it.
All right. In my opinion, third take, they know this movie is not very scary, and they get fuck.
Yeah.
We need to put
Yeah.
we need to put a scare in the middle of this boring ass sequence where everybody is whispering and sleeping.
Yeah.
How about a
I
guy's
could see that.
hungry and goes and gets haunted?
Either way, I think that's part of the conversation leading to that. For sure. That
Yeah.
was their way of addressing that. Well, here's a horrific thing. All right, we're done? Great. Okay.
Yeah.
The next day, Craig T. Nelson's boss shows up, and it's the actor from Return of the Living Dead. I don't remember his name, but I recognize this guy from other horror movies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, he's a great character actor, and I think he's hilarious in Return of the Living Dead. Awesome movie. We should have done that at some point in October, but next year, there's always more time. They go and explore the lot that the houses are being built on and basically reveal that it's all being built on an old graveyard. And they're moving the graveyard just a couple miles down the road. Do-do-do-do. Maybe that's why the house is so fucking haunted.
Wait a minute.
You think? Why Craig T. Nelson doesn't fucking put two and two together
Yeah.
at this point? Oh, my house is haunted and it's built, and you moved a graveyard to build my house here. Okay.
Yeah, it really.
Oh,
it's-
and half the graves are still here waiting to be moved. Okay.
like if this would happen at the very beginning when he wasn't quite sure what was happening with this house, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't put that together.
Yeah.
But when this shit is like at a 10 right now,
Yeah.
and then your guy comes to talk to you, also I thought was hilarious. Like, oh yeah, where's your kid? Where have you been? Oh, I have the flu, the worst flu. All right, get in the car with me. It's like, oh, that's not what would happen today. I have the flu. Get the fuck away
I
from
have a
me.
mysterious Chinese disease.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hang out for an hour and a half. Here, come on. It's like, yeah, right. But yeah, it's at a 10. Your life's so fucked up, and then he tells you this, and you can't figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at this point, we just hard cut back to some old creepy ass lady. Now we brought out the big guns.
Yeah.
This is like the paranormal investigator's witch friend. She's a psychic or something.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
going to get to the bottom of these ghosts. And I know this episode's going long, so we're just going to kind of roll through this third act.
Yeah.
She's like, take me to the closet.
I loved this lady, though.
Yeah.
I really
too.
liked this character. She was fucking weird and creepy. I thought she did great.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I was in.
Yeah.
When she came up, I was in.
I
She's
liked
like,
her too.
take me to the closet. She basically explains like, your daughter's still alive in the ghost world, but she's with the beast.
Yeah.
She thinks it's a little child, but it's the beast. And so the girl is like chilling with the devil in the ghost world or something.
This is something that I think that only horror movies can get away with, where it's something like they never explain how this lady knows any of this or like who she's really talking to, but it's just accepted. Like, oh, she just knows, and like that's it. Like, where did this lady come from? We don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
All we know is she's old
and weird.
and weird. So something traumatic.
trust her.
Something
Yeah.
traumatic has damaged her psyche.
Yeah.
She's not well adjusted. That's all we know about her.
Yeah.
They activate the portal in the closet, which basically means they turn a strobe light on in there. And then they're like, the portal is activated. They've got some paranormal investigators in the living room at this point. And they draw like some pictures on some tennis balls and throw them into the closet. And the tennis balls come out of the portal in the living room covered in goo.
Yeah. But then the number's still on there.
Yeah. And so this is so like, to me, this is where it became like science fiction fantasy, like off the like logic no longer makes sense at this part of the movie. We're flying by the seat of our pants. And basically she's like, all right, the tennis balls came back. Let's throw a rope in there now. And they throw a rope in there. They parodied this on The Simpsons and the Treehouse of Horrors one time. And it's like, now we're going to go in and fish her out. It's almost like their daughter fell into the ocean and
Right.
they need like
Go
to
get
send a
her.
diver in to go get her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never minded that though. It was weird, but
No, it's all weird. And even the rope thing and the ball thing, like, why is it covered in that red slime? I don't know. But
Yeah.
again, whatever.
I bought it. Yeah, I don't know. When I originally saw it, I bought it. I mean, it was weird, but
yeah.
For me, I guess it kind of, I read it as like, ghosts aren't real. You know, there's no real precedent for what they're doing. And so
Sure.
the filmmakers have to make up some sort of process or procedure to investigate ghosts
Yeah.
and then retrieve this girl from a ghost realm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not disappointed, but I'm just like, the best you can do is they draw a couple of numbers on some tennis balls. You went to a college and you contacted these college trained professors and they got some weird witch lady.
Yeah.
And their secret weapon is tennis balls with Sharpie on them.
Yeah.
This is the expertise that they bring to rescue the girl. All right, but sure,
yeah.
whatever.
I'll say this though. On my end,
Wish it was a little cooler, I guess.
I think though that for me that was kind of some of the appeal of this movie was that it did all feel like the aesthetic or the, I don't know how you want to say it. I don't know. I kind of believed it for that reason. It wasn't anything that spectacular. I kind of liked that it was, I mean, everyone is trying, you know, like when she got sucked into the closet, they can kind of hear her through the TV. Like nothing was really that spectacular.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I bought it more, is because it all felt very like,
Well, even with the tennis balls, like, did she bring those or did they just find those lying around? Like, to me, it's like, I just thought that just came from the house. We got to throw
Yeah.
something here.
Oh,
You
no,
gotta-
the team like brought them.
They
and
did?
We're
Yeah.
working on them earlier.
Well, I remember, like, okay, working on them, I remember. Them bringing them into the house is something like, I thought maybe they just like found these things and like, oh, we'll use
Yeah.
these, you know.
but no, that's all that stuff though, like I was saying, because it was so unspectacular and very, you know, this is a problem affecting them in the home and things being on that level. I really liked, but that to me is why it was so disappointing, going back to what we were saying about when they were showing all the skull shit coming out and all that stuff. That the parts where it does try to get spectacular, that's why those parts disappointed me. It all felt like it played by rules and then kind of like didn't for a minute.
I
was
guess
more my
for me,
issue.
they're doing a rescue operation, and their tools of the trade are a couple tennis balls and
Sure.
a piece of rope. And I
I
was
get
like,
it.
maybe. I mean, you're the paranormal experts. I could have come up with tennis balls and a rope. I'm just a dude. Like,
Yeah,
I would
sure.
think you would even, you know, imagine the Ghostbusters show up with tennis balls and rope. Like, no, you're the Ghostbusters. You got the proton packs.
Yeah.
You got the ghost trap.
And
you,
th- yeah,
you
and
got
that-
some cool shit to handle these ghosts with.
And that stuff did also still feel, because I like the kind of aesthetic or whatever of Ghostbusters too, because their stuff was not, I mean, I would argue their stuff was just as homemade, but it still followed a logic, and it was still something you couldn't have just done. They had a thermonuclear thing on their bag.
Right.
It didn't look like it was very well put together. It all looked like shit, but you know what I mean? To your point, it's stuff that average Joe could not have done.
I guess the world building, there's some sort of there's enough mumbo jumbo where my brain goes, all right, I don't know how it works, but they did something.
They're the experts.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
For this one.
Sure, I hear you.
Putting Sharpie on a tennis ball, it doesn't quite, and then they throw it and it comes out the portal. I'm like, I don't know if this is enough science where you've figured out how these poltergeists work, and now you're going to defeat them.
Sure. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Anyways, who cares? Fucking tennis balls go in there, and then they throw a rope in there, and then they tie a rope around the mom and throw her ass in there too.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Dad, hold on to the rope, but don't pull too early, because if you pull too early, you pulled too early. And a giant beastly, I'm talking like not an 8-foot skeleton, an 8-foot skull. Just the head comes out of this closet, and it's real hokey, man.
You know what
it's
it
pretty
reminded
campy.
me of? Is we just did the Not Scary Farm, and every haunted house at the end was a gigantic animatronic.
Me too. Every time I thought of that. Each one always had a giant head.
And a giant thing that attacked you. Like, that was the final boss, if you will. And I kind of felt like, oh, that's what that was.
I fucking wish that was the final boss.
I know, that's the thing.
Because they pull this girl out, and it's like, we did it, and we're moving out of this house.
The house is clean.
The house is clean. We're done. Roll credits, except they don't roll credits. There's another 20 minutes to this movie where they spend the night in the house again.
That did not make any sense.
I'm sorry. Maybe you like this movie, but this final act makes no fucking sense.
It makes no sense for so many different reasons that, like, Craig T. Nelson was so adamant, we're moving tonight. Tonight, we're fucking out. I'm going to go tell my boss to go fuck off. I'll be back. We'll get out of here. Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And everyone's like getting ready for bed as if the house didn't just fucking try to kill them. And
And by the way, let's not forget the plot point at this part of the movie is the mom wants to dye her hair that night.
Yeah. She's good. Well, because their daughter mentioned the gray shit or whatever. But it's like, the fact that you're letting your kids go back in that room and sleep by themselves
after all this
fucking
shit that's happened.
Bonkers to me.
More stuff, by the way, her dyeing her hair, more stuff, like I said, the whole point of adults acting like children, the ongoing theme in this movie.
But it's like...
So, great message underneath it, but why are we doing this here?
You are taking a bath in this house? Are you fucking nuts?
Yeah.
Like, stay in the moving van. Don't go back in that place. And you put your kids there with that fucking doll. Like, get out of town.
But the worst part is just as a person who watches movies, you're done.
Yeah.
I've seen you beat the poltergeist. You got your daughter back, and you're moving out of the house.
Yep.
There's nothing left to be said about this story, and yet they just rehash it. Once again, I think they made this movie, and they're like, well, it's just not scary enough. Let's do another night where it just goes fucking bonkers.
Honestly, if you have to make them stay another night, find a better thing, because
there has to be a reason.
There's no reason.
Yeah, I don't even, personally, I don't even mind that there is another thing after they say the house is clean. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
A lot of movies they complete their thing and then it's like, oh, no, there's one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that aspect of it, but they had to justify it with a better reason for them being there. There's no reason to stay there again.
Yeah.
So that was just not executed.
The mom, she's going to dye her hair. Yeah, she got like a rogue, streak of gray, the stress gray. She's going to try to fix that over the course of the night. Earlier in the movie, they show that the son has a scary clown in his room. Well, guess what? The clown comes alive on this night.
Yeah.
And tries to eat the fucking kids or some shit.
Fun fact about making this movie, the kid was actually choking by that clown doll and said, it's choking me. And then Steven Spielberg and Tobe thought he was improvising and were really into it until Steven Spielberg realized he was turning purple. And then they had to come save the kid.
See? Told you, real injury caught on tape in this movie.
There is a real injury on that, yeah.
Do you remember the story about they in the CKY video, they hung the guy from the noose?
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, he's doing a really good job. He's twitching.
Oh, that's terrible. That's like we film stuff, and a lot of times, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just pretend.
Every now and then, you never know.
You got to come up with a safe word or some shit.
Yeah.
Yell at popcorn, and then things are not okay.
Yeah.
Mom starts getting dragged up the wall onto the ceiling. They do the Jamiroquai virtual insanity.
Yeah.
Moving the house move.
Yeah.
Demons grow out of the door.
That effect was cool though.
The staircase becomes electrified. They're just pulling out all the stops.
All the stops.
The baby girl screams, "No more!" That's exactly how I feel watching this part of the movie. The mom runs outside, jumps in the pool. It's filled with corpses. Somebody mentioned that at the beginning of the show.
Yes.
It's full of corpses.
Yeah, and the dad comes running home and he realizes they moved the graves, but they never moved the body. And his boss is there too, conveniently at that moment. So he could shout at him.
Yeah.
Wasn't there was some kind of fiasco about this part of the movie, right?
Yeah.
What was the deal with that? Like, weren't they like real skeletons or something?
The crew figured out it'd be cheaper and easier to get real skeletons in that part. And so they were real skeletons in the pool.
That's why it's so scary.
But
the
they
energy.
did not tell the actress they were real until after they were done filming because she wouldn't have wanted to do it.
Well, there's the curse right there.
That is what we're saying. Yeah,
that's literally what the movie's about.
Exactly what my thought. It's like, this is what the movie was about. Then you did it, and now people in your movies are dying. Like in real life, like, yo, why'd you do this? Why'd you use real skeletons?
You disturbed the dead. But I just remember as a kid watching, like, I want to say it was like Entertainment Tonight or some show like that, and that actress was like so upset by that.
You don't say. You know what they should have done is fucking filmed her reaction, because I bet that was a sight to see.
Poltergeist 4.
Like,
we tell the
Hey,
actors.
they might have and never released that footage.
Yeah, hey, guess what? Hey, you're gonna love this. Guess what?
Gotcha.
Those bodies were real. Like, fuck off. I was in there with like 30 dead people. Like, I'd be so fucking pissed.
I was sharing water with the dead body. I mean, that's got to be
that's
dangerous.
So fucked up.
Gross.
That's so fucked up.
Anyways, this is like the tornado scene earlier in the movie. A lot of shit happens all at once. But basically, a portal gets opened up in the girl's closet, and it looks like the devil's butthole. It's like a fleshy tunnel to hell. It's a fleshy tunnel to hell. It looks like the Sarlacc's butthole, I should say, from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or is that just its mouth? Either way.
We never know.
Either way, it's gross.
Yeah.
Either way, it's gross.
I'm not going in there.
The whole family runs out of the house. The daughter, who has been like, by the way, they say, we're moving out tonight. We're going to this old motel down the highway. She goes, oh, yeah, I remember that place. And the mom goes, what? She goes, oh, never mind, and walks off. So again, this daughter is like, she's loose in the caboose. She shows up in a Camaro on some random date. I'm telling you, construction workers. And she's like, what's happening? And the whole house, this is cool. It gets sucked into the portal.
Yeah.
As the famous shot, this house just kind of disappears. You may have seen this on the internet before. It's a pretty iconic shot.
Damn, I had this all saved up to use it in the right moment.
And then the family makes it to that fabled motel, and that's how the movie ends. They push a TV out of the room. We're not sleeping with the TV anymore.
Ends it on a little gag.
Yeah.
No TV in here.
Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Poltergeist. There it is.
You know, I like this movie. There's definitely problems, as we talked about. It's still a fun movie. It's still a good time. If you want to do shakers now, I'm ready. I don't know if you're ready. But
let's do it.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I picked it, so I'll go first. This movie is it's like as I said, an 80s Twilight Zone episode, which I love. I'm gonna give it 3 shakers. It's for me, it's fun. There are definitely parts where I'm like, okay, like this is boring, or why are we doing this? But overall, I loved it.
Okay. I'll go next. I wish this movie was shorter. I think it's a little too long. I think there's too many. I feel like they kind of repeat the same setup over and over. Like the kids go to sleep.
Sure.
The ghosts show up. They have an experience. They think it's over. That happens like 3 or 4 times in the movie.
Yeah.
If they just lost one of those, I feel like it
Put
would
them
be
together or do something. Yeah, there's something they could do.
If they just lost one of those sequences, I feel like the movie would be a little tighter. And maybe the scares would punctuate it more. I feel like it's not so scary because they stretch it out. But whatever, though, it's a Steven Spielberg movie. It does remind me of a good Twilight Zone episode. I'm going to give it 2.5 shakers.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like this movie. It is very Twilight Zone. I like the themes behind it. I like all the like kind of just sweeping things under the rug, aversion of responsibility stuff. I really like. I love the aesthetic of this movie, and I just on my behalf, like, to me, the way they execute most of the paranormal stuff in this movie lends believability to it, where it all just feels very like, this is not spectacular, it's real. There's just a few things that break that I don't like. But in terms of stuff to watch around Halloween, I always choose this. I really like this movie. I give it a 4. I really like it.
All right.
Nice. There you have it.
There you have it.
That's Poltergeist, everybody. Next week's pick is Rocco pick. What do you got for us?
Yes. Another thing that I saw, well, I didn't see the whole movie as a kid because I was too terrified to do it. But the scariest thing to me, like if you could show me one thing when I was young, this would have been the thing I ran from, was fucking Chucky, that stupid ass doll. And I never wanted to watch it. But, recently there's like a Child's Play show now. There's like a lot of Child's Play has been back in the media a little bit. And I got a really cheap box set of all of them. And I thought, well, let's talk about the original Child's Play. Is it scary or is it just stupid? So let's talk about it.
Let's find out next week, everyone.
We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in to Movie Club. Check out Child's Play because we're going to be deep diving it next episode. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, wait. This set is clean. There. See, I got you ready for it. Hope you laughed.
You got to laugh.
You did.
You got to laugh.
Shut it off.